So my name is Andrew E. Guy. I travel internationally to do talks on resiliency. I'm a registered psychotherapist. I'm an author, former teacher of the year. I transitioned from Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm a Canadian citizen, but there was a great offer that I just couldn't refuse. So I traded the cold to go there and to teach, and it was a great experience. And I got a chance to travel, go to Vegas and did some training for some of our teachers, and I got a chance to stay at the Venetian Hotel. It's amazing. If you've never been there, you should go and check it out. But that's briefly about me. I ask you to stand. You're wondering, why am I standing right now? Okay? Because we're talking about vaping. My background is in kinesiology. That's where my first master's was in. I'm fascinated about the body because a great speaker once said, it's the only place you get to live. Said to take care of it. You don't live in a house. You live inside this body here. All right. And as a teacher, I get a chance to talk to students about what they put inside of this little house that they get to carry around. Now I've transitioned from the physical and to the mental. So I went into psychology. I'm now a registered psychotherapist, and I have clients that I work with, and we deal with anything from depression to anxiety to work-life issues. All right. So why are you standing? You're standing because I want you to give yourself a round of applause before you start. Listen, as I travel, a lot of people are always clapping for me. But how many times do you stop to clap for yourself? How many times do you stop to look in the mirror, create a frame, and then clap for yourself? Rarely do that, right? Do we? Yes. So I want you to think about one thing that's positive about you. I want you to create a frame. In therapy, we call that reframing. I want you to look at yourself in the mirror. I want you to say your name, smile, and then clap. Can we do that? You've probably never done that before. It's going to do something to your brain. It's going to do something. It's going to release what we call dopamine into the brain and cause you to feel better about yourself. I'm talking instantly. And the purpose of me doing that, especially with youth, is to let them see there is a higher high that they can get instead of turning to drugs. All right? So I want you to now think about it. Raise your hand up. Create your window. Do one of those things. Because sometimes, your new mirror, it might have something on it that you just, it's new. Even if you go to Walmart, you get a mirror, there's going to be something. You pull it out of the box. Oh my goodness, so let's start again. I want you to create your window. Wonderful, you did that just right. Oh snap, there's something on your window. So what I want you to do is, and I want you to just wax off, just like the martial art Karate Kid. Good, now wax on. Good, you did good. Now I want you to point in the mirror. I want you to say your name. 1, 2, 3, say your name. Kristen. Andrew. And I want you to clap for yourself. Go ahead. Clap for yourself. All right. Pause right there. I have one more thing I want to ask of you. As a kinesiologist, we try to get you moving. So what I want you to do, I want you to have ankles on the knees and knees on the hips and hips on the shoulder. That means full alignment. And I want you to go down into a squat for me. Oh, that's beautiful. Hold it right there. Hold it right there. You're doing good. You're doing wonderful. All right. Come on up. Good. So can you give me 2 of those? Ready. Ready. Down. Up. Down. Up. Fantastic. Now you can sit down. You're ready to go. We did that just to get some blood flow. Normally, when I travel, I normally have on suits and so forth. But when I work with youth, I try to look like you. One of the things that what I wear is this here. It said, I can only get better. And the goal is to help kids to understand you can get better. Okay? This is one of our sponsors for our podcast. And I want to start off by thanking the counselor for allowing us to be here. Thank you so much. And the youth council. I want to thank you guys so much for allowing us to be here. When I finish up my presentation, these are some resources that are available. It says, I Can Only Get Better Journal. This is one of our recent publication, The Work Mindset. This is one of my other publications, book. We're trying to get into all schools in Hamilton. If we could, it would be great. Work your words. Let's start with it first. What does it mean to work your words? What does it mean? If words are seeds, and we sow these seeds into the ground, what can we expect for a harvest when it's time to reap? I'll give you an example. Someone will say that you're no good. You're not good enough. You're not going to amount to anything. And we're not picking on race, but I'm just going to give you a little bit about my background. I'm originally from Jamaica. Life was very, very difficult for me. I've been through a lot of trauma. At 6 years old, many of you got up, you see your mom. Many of you got up, you see your dad. At 6, I got up, I didn't see mom or dad. I was in another home with another family. I went from foster home to foster home to foster home. And the purpose of me telling you that is not for a pity story. It's to let you see, in order for us to transform our youth today, they need a roadmap, they need an example for them to follow. My mom is my Moses, and I learned resilience from my mother. A lot of times our children may come to me as a teacher and said, you know, Coach Guy, that's what they call me in the classroom. How do I become like you? I say, you don't want to become like me. You want to be better than me. As a matter of fact, I say, give me a high five. I said, look at my hand. I said, how many fingers do I have? And how many people will say we have 5 fingers? No. Anatomically speaking, we have 4 fingers and 1 thumb, 5 phalanges. Okay? And every one of these digits have a different print. If you travel in the United States, which I spent many years down there, you end up doing this a lot of times. Give me them 4s, give me that thumb. If I only have 4 prints of my fingers, I really don't have a human being. I need all 5 of these to complete the human. Does that make sense? And so what I said to the individual, I said, you don't want to be me, you want to be you. And I teach youth across Canada when I travel with our tour. But here's what happened. I said, you want to be yourself. Because if you had a gift inside of you and you fail to give that to humanity and take that to the grave, then that's one gift the world would not have. And so we're doing a tour across all the high school. We're looking for organizations that we can partner up with. It's called Resilient Learners for Life. Resilient Learners for Life. It's a program that I found, having taught in the high schools for several years. And I saw the hurt. I see the trauma. I see the worry. I see the anxiety. And I said, I got to do something about that. So when I'm not in the classroom, I'm traveling. We went to St. Mary's. We went to BR. We went to several high schools across Hamilton. And then next year, we're hoping to go to Newmarket, and then we're going to go down to Southern Ontario and hopefully across Buffalo. Why? Because our children are struggling. And let me give you a quick note, something I want you to think about. I tell students that everywhere they look, there's a line in front of them that they have to cross. And if the line is in front of you, that you're in the present. Until you step over that line, you still have to deal or face that issue. I said your goal is to be aware of who you are as an individual. Not what you do, not the degree that you have, but who you are. Because knowing who you are, having a proper identity of who you are, is the same thing as me saying this is an index finger. It's not a pinky. They have 2 different prints. You are an original. There is no copy of you that anybody else can clone. Yes, we have AI, artificial intelligence, but there's an intelligence that you have that will not be replicated. When I travel, I have a chance to run into a diverse group of individuals, some from different places. Some look like my skin. Some look like my palm. And they said, how do you deal with race? I said, I don't run it. I said, we are just like paint jobs. It's not important to look at the paint job of a car. What moved the car? The engine. I said, we all have this engine inside of us. They even had a book that said, the little engine that could. And then I said, you all can. If you only believe, you can only get better. So if I tell them you're standing behind the line, don't judge yourself by where you are. Because tomorrow will change once you step over the line. That is in the past. Every day you get a chance to create a present. And I tell them my story. I said life was really rough for me. I didn't have formal education. I couldn't read when I came to this country. I struggled. Fastest man is from Jamaica. So you know, most of us who come from there, we like track and field. It's not because we just love track and field, because we have to run everywhere we have to go. That's the reason. So if mama sends you out, or the foster home parents send you out to get something, they spat on the ground. That's your timer. Don't let that dry up before you get back. And the shop wasn't just down there. We're moving. You get your stuff, come back. You're moving to get back. But I didn't get to participate in any kind of sport because I couldn't read. Couldn't do math. Traumatized by it. I spent my 4 years of high school in a library at Westview Centennial at 755 Oakdale Road, learning how to read. And one day it clicked. I said, man, if I ever get this stuff right, I'm going to keep on studying and studying to learn as much as I can. I left from there, went to Seneca College, graduated from there. I said, I need more. I need more. Because guess what? I crossed the line now, right? And the goal of everything I do in life is to help kids to cross the line to becoming who they are. Because it doesn't matter what the past is, even though it does, you can only get better. Then I went off. I applied to school in the United States, got accepted, Southern Arkansas University. You know the guy that went to school probably one day a week, if that, couldn't read, couldn't write? Today, 2 master's degree, registered psychotherapist, on my 5th book, writing. We launch an amazing program that is reaching our youth, Resilient Learners for Life. I didn't think I could have launched that program if I didn't live it. My son back there, valedictorian. The proof is in the pudding. I'm not just here telling you something. If I didn't live it, I couldn't talk about it. The moment he was in the belly, I started reading to him because I was determined he was not going to have my struggle. My wife would get upset at me. Why are you rubbing my belly? I said, I want to make sure he doesn't go through what I go through. And I'm rubbing the belly and I'm reading to that. I said, you're going to be better than me. You're going to read. You're going to do well. You're going to do amazing. Today, with his help, we're launching a platform called the Resilient Learners for Life platform. How our thing was working, we'll show you all up here. It's going to have videos, updates, teachers can interact with this platform. It's going to reach our youth where they are. There's going to be morning announcements. They're going to get to hear me talking in the morning. Positive inoculation to help them get through the day. Because I want to tell you something. Once they step over the line, it pours and it rains on our youth. They have to decide, what should I eat? What should I wear? What should I drink? How should I feel? What should I do? Which friends should I connect with? And they're really trying to find out, at the end of the day, who am I? Should I accept what I look like, or should I change it to fit in? I'm a square, but everything looked like a circle. Should I change so I can fit in the circle? But I'm a triangle. I'm trying everything. Maybe I should do the rectangle thing. I don't know. And so you wonder why society has so much issue, mental health issue, because we're still trying to find out who we are. And it's a great stress for our youth. You think it's just vaping, huh? That's a coping mechanism. You think it's just drinking, huh? That's a coping mechanism. You think it's just going to the bathroom or being afraid to go to the bathroom. An article came out just a few weeks ago saying that kids in Hamilton High School are scared of going into the bathroom. Brother over there just put his hand up. How can you go to a school that you're afraid to go in the bathroom? It's happening in Hamilton. We don't just need programs. We need to meet them where they are. My goal is to get into every school I can. Give them the literature so they can read, because they're going to be reading anyhow. They're on social media reading everything else. Why not teach them how to read and work their words so they can develop a work mindset? Because, man, you're just one win away from your next breakthrough. Every time you win, you didn't just win, you're qualifying. He said, how do we help our children? But we're telling them about the future. I said, whoa, but we haven't even qualified for the present because we've been held back by the past. Where are you? Do an assessment to find out what's going on in their minds. What's bothering them? Have the candid conversation with them. What is going on? No, tell me in your own words. Tell me. Set boundaries for them. I created another program while I was in a classroom called Chair Outside My Office. You know what that means? Teachers get so busy, so wrapped up in themselves, think they have made it. Well, I'm just going to teach this course. I'm ready to go. Okay, students, this is what's going on. Okay, wait, okay. And students are hurting. And they'll come and teach to, instead of teach with. And I tell a student, anytime you see a chair outside my office, sit in it. I'm available to talk with you. And they'll pass and they see a chair, like, oh, Coach Guy got a chair outside. And they sit down, ready to talk. So what's going on? By the time we get up, tears. Sir, thank you for hearing me, sir. And some of those same kids go home to their parents and don't say anything to their parents. Did you talk to your parents about what happened? I said, the only time I'll have to share what you say is if you say you're going to hurt yourself, self-harm, then I have to report that legally. I said, find someone to talk with. Find someone to share. They all have a bunch of baggages. Here's an experiment that I ran that was very successful. When the kids come into the classroom, they're all excited. But some of them are scared because they don't know if their stuff that they're wearing is cool enough. Some got on their hood, they got everything on. They're coming in. So, they don't know. They don't know if they're going to be accepted. And I said, stop. I stopped him at the door. I said, we're going to be traveling airline Coach Guy 105.5, and we're going to about 32,000 altitude. I said, I want you to park your bags right there. I just got a quick assignment for you. I ripped off some paper. I said, I want you to write down the thing that is bothering you the most. the thing that hurts you, the thing you can't talk about to anybody, the stuff that's so heavy that when you start to talk about it, tears come down. That's called a baggage. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper. I want you to ball it up for me. And when you ball it up, I want you to come into the classroom, and I take them to the gymnasium, and I put them in a big circle. And I said, I want you to face your back to the circle. Man, if I had everything was working here, man, I need to dry erase board. Man, I get back to teaching. And I let them sit in a circle and face outwards. And you know what I let them do? I said, I want you to take the ball of paper. I want you to close your eyes and throw it. And throw it, and it lands in a circle. And I go in there and I mix it up. Good. Then I put on some music and I play musical chairs. I want you to go close your eyes and pick up a piece of paper and go right back to your seat and sit down. And then I want you to turn your chair around. I want you to open it and then tell me what you see on it. And they were reading other people's issue. There were no names on it. They now understand what their friends were carrying that was heavy. When their heads were down, it's like, oh, that's why he can't look up, because he's ashamed. Friends, tell him he's ugly, not accepted. My children, when they came here, struggled. Other kids tell them to go back to Africa when they came here. And they chase them around the school and beat them up. When I talk about resiliency, it's not about bouncing back. It's about standing up. Not politically, mentally. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, that's how he is. And if we teach our kids to be resilient mentally, there is no telling that whatever the vape is or whatever the economy is trying to push at them, they can walk right through it and pass that line and become the greatest transformational force that Canada has ever seen. But we need to give them time. We need to talk with them. We can't preach at them. We need to meet them where they are and help them to win where they are. I wish you can partner with me, because this message is necessary. It's needed, because when a person is hurt, they really can't fulfill their purpose. And when he makes a noise, they say, hey, there goes an angry man right there. Goes an angry girl right there. There goes an angry child right there. And so we misinterpret their roar and their scream as ignorant, not knowing, misled, because we don't understand their scream. The world will never see the best of us when we hurt. I don't care how smart you are. Doesn't matter what your background. They will not know who you are as long as you're hurting, because your emergency is the pain. I want you to think about this framework. I'll be appearing on CHCH TV Morning Live tomorrow. And I'm grateful to be here. I don't see empty chairs. I see potential seats that could be filled. I've never spoken to an empty room before, and this is not empty. This is full. You know why? Because you are attached to 15, 20, 30 other persons. You are attached to 50, 100 people. You who raised your hand, you're attached to so many. You're going to take this message and say, you guys got to come to the next council meeting. This is what happened. Here's what I want you to take with you. Everybody put your hand up like this for me. Make a triangle. When you're going through something, I want you to create a frame. Instead of a square, I want this to be a triangle, because you're going to be trying things. Open the top of the triangle. The top of the triangle represents T. The lower left corner represents F. The right corner represents outcome. You said, Andrew, what does this mean? The top is T for thought. You ever had them intrusive thought that just pop in your head? You just can't get rid of them? That's called a thought. Otherwise known as an ingredients. Pretend you're going to cook a cake. And then when the thought comes in, it shuts because it got something to feed on. Just like if you're on social media scrolling and you find something, you don't keep scrolling. You be like, oh, that got my attention. You lock on. So the thought comes in, boom, the triangle shuts. And then it works its way down to another T. We call it T2. And so the thought comes in and then it goes to T2. T2 is the oven. That's when you bake up that ingredients. That's the thinking process. So thought, thinking creates a feeling. And when I feel a certain way, I have an emotion that's attached to it. And then after I have that emotion, all of this is secretive, guys. Nobody knows what I'm thinking. All this is invisible. But here's the part that you need to understand. When we express it, they know what we're thinking, know our thought, know how we feel. I didn't know you were angry about that. I didn't know you were upset about that. All of this our kids are carrying around inside of them. They need education. They need to be spoken with. And when we express it, they have an outcome. The outcome will have a consequence. And people who see it will observe it. We call it observation. And it loops. And then the triangle gets bigger and bigger and bigger because their thoughts affect other people. And it becomes a community issue. And then it becomes a regional issue. And then it becomes a city issue. And then it becomes a nation issue. And then a world issue. And a global issue. And that's why we are where we are today. Because we didn't deal with the little triangle. And so I want to partner up with you people to help transform our youth so they can live resilient life moving forward. Our mission is to help them to take back their mental health and their well-being and create a future where they thrive in. Because if we drop the ball right now, the game that is coming in the future, we don't even want to be a spectator. What I tell our teachers, I said, you want to make sure you do everything you can for the youth right now, because then retirement's going to be amazing. And if you drop the ball right now, do not look forward to the future because it's going to be difficult because you messed up the opportunity to create the great future that you could have. If you have any questions, you can reach us at resilientlearnersforlife.com. You can reach me. I'll be back there if you need to ask me any question. Feel free. I'm looking to partner with our counselor and any organization within the city that wants to impact their youth to help them with mental health and well-being. And that's my mission in life. I live it at home, and it's what I do. Okay? I want to thank you for your time. Do not clap for me. Clap for yourself because you sat there and listened. Now, clap for yourself. Here we go.